I got started with Café Cultura in 2010. I met a couple of the members who actually were dancing with the traditional Aztec dance group, Grupo Tlaloc in Denver, which is the group that I also dance with. And I remember the first few times that I actually went to the monthly open mic events and being completely 100% astonished by the work that was being done.
I just moved to Denver. I was just looking for like that avenue to share my work and just kind of, get acquainted with the art scene in Denver. So I met Ada in 2009 at an immigrant rights training in Fort Collins, I think it's like September. He told me about like this open mic, Café Cultura, and I thought it was going to be like an actual coffee shop, but it was not a coffee shop. It's in a gym.
Café Cultura started in October 2004, and the inspiration for it was movements of Indigenous people across borders coming together for healing and for empowerment of their communities and our communities. And we were inspired and wanted to be able to contribute to that movement, bringing people together, and in this way, through poetry, through creative expression. What we were doing wasn't necessarily new, but it was a continuation of our ancestors' storytelling, right? And being able, going back to Nezahualcóyotl and other famous native poets in the Americas, we want to be able to continue that tradition.
I consider myself a poet, but more of an activist than anything, and my main tool is my art, to raise awareness and to make sure that our voices are heard. And so I like to think that my work reflects the views and the values of my community, and the people who I've like gathered to create this sort of like this movement that I feel rising in this day.
In college, I really did start performing a lot. And a lot of it came out of the need of just like seeing like the frustration of being one of like 10 Latinos in a school of 2,000 students. And that school was surrounded by a bunch of fields that are worked by immigrants. And I was like, well, why aren't there more of us here? And I was one of those people that worked the fields. And So yeah, I was like, maybe like I should write something because I feel very angry, and instead of like doing all these crazy things that I was doing up until a point, maybe I should just put it into something that's more useful and not as detrimental or hurtful to myself.
And we talk about this in our workshops when we work with our youth, telling them that this is a tool for them to like heal themselves instead of hurting more people. Oftentimes I found myself acting out violently when I felt depressed, right? Against the police, against other people who were different from me, who I felt like were oppressing me, right? And a lot of times we see our youth doing the same exact mistakes, landing them into jail and prison, right? Into drugs and alcohol. And I think that pain comes out in our poems, and to a point where we can get that pain out of us and onto that page, and let it exist only on that page instead of existing in our bodies and our souls.
It's pretty much like I have one concept and then I just try to elaborate on a bunch of different images. I don't try to necessarily make a story as much as show the story. And so in it, I don't necessarily try to tell people how I feel, but give them images that will invoke a feeling. So like in my dad poem, instead of saying that, he worked into exhaustion until like his bones and his joints were starting to wear down and everything like that, I said they worked him until his bones were as broken as his English. That for me invokes a lot more feeling personally.
For me, my process is, I look at what's going on in the world. I take a look at my surroundings, and I think all great artists are putting something together that represents their reality and how they see the world. And part of my role, I see myself as kind of putting up a mirror, right, to myself, right, but also to other folks and to how things are structured in society.
A lot of the times, if you see me, I'm just walking around the city talking to myself. And some people, when I went to DU, and people at DU would look at me like I was some sort of nut, walking around talking to myself. I'm not crazy, I'm just writing poetry.
It's something that I live. So a piece that I write is an experience that I have went through personally, and sometimes it can be something that I write very quickly, and other times it can be something that takes a few years because I haven't fully lived the rest of that experience in order to finish that piece of poetry.
Poems are never done. There's always something to be doing to them, but it does help because some poets compete, and we have a time frame for that specific thing, and that does help sometimes define your poem a little bit. But I do feel like there's sometimes some poems that you just feel like you've left every drop of your creativity on that page, and then it is done for that moment, just for the moment.
If you are connected to your culture, perfect, you'll connect with the poem. If you're not, then maybe you'll reconnect with your culture. Maybe you'll find those roots again wherever you come from. Because I think especially here in America, we all just slap on the American identity, and we're like, cool, we're American, but it's like, no, because America is a mishmash of everybody. So, you may have like 50,000 roots, or you may have one deep root, but time to connect.
All the horrible things that happen to Native people are still happening to Native people right now because we still exist, right? And so that's the hope, that like people realize that like, one, we're still here, and two, there's still injustices done to us.
To see the responses of individuals when they hear or experience the poetry, I think that's the most rewarding part of it, and the part that you really try to get to push through writer's block, to push through self-doubt, and really be able to create something that's going to be real and important for people to hear.
Oftentimes in museums, it feels like the artifacts that are on display are about ancient stuff, right? Like, these people are no longer here, and this is the stuff that we saved. And I think what we were thinking was, how can we show that we are still here?
When I go through the gallery, I see like the pre-Columbian section, and this section that people think is like historical and like antiquated. And then you go into the Mexican gallery, and this like modern side of people who are still alive, but the two galleries are separated. And I'm like, they shouldn't be separated. Like, they're not separated within me.
Our mission is really tied to that, bringing people together, promoting healing, and part of that is reminding us who we are. And I think when you walk through this particular exhibit, you definitely get a glimpse into our past, right? And I think for us, having a voice and being able to speak where we are today, and these pieces kind of being representations of our culture, of our ancestors and what they left for us, but also reminding ourselves and other people that we are still here, and we're going to continue to speak up. We're going to continue to use our hands, use our mouths, use our bodies, use our actions to be able to not only maintain our traditions and pass them on, but also to work for greater social justice.
With these hands, we build culture. Like my father, who was able to take the earth from Mexico, mold it into adobe bricks, and built the first home him, my mom, and my brother lived in. Unfortunately, this home was the home that can fit inside of my apartment right now, inside of my apartment room. I myself, living in all the luxury, forget where my parents come from, forget what our ancestry had to fight through. La Cerca, where my father grew up, had this huérfano, where the snails would climb onto the rocks, eat the calcium from the fossilized seabed, and from it build a new home onto their backs, much like my father and my parents, who came here to America, took in this culture, mixed it in with our own Mexicanoism, and built the new home which I now recognize. Me and my sisters, all two tongues, American education, and the ability to convince anyone that we are meant to be here, go back to Mexico, and they immediately recognize the foreign nature of our tongue, the foreign language that we come with, and they themselves do not recognize that we are the ancestry come back. We are the Indigeno, who recognizes the grass beneath our feet, recognizes how it welcomes us home, even if the language that we have is the treacherous one, is the one that the colonizers brought. It knows that our bones are familiar. Our bones are the family that have always wanted to return but never could because of borders. So we see the faces of our past in the tortillas and molcajetes that we make food with, like our ancestors who were able to take the tribe, bring it together, feed everyone, the elders and the young ones, and laugh. We do this again when we return to Mexico in my grandma's home, the same kind of home my parents built, made out of adobe and stucco, with all the beds in one room where you had to share and be the tribe in one household. So you yourself give in to what it is to laugh even though you are in poverty. Give in to laughter even though you know your ancestry is being forgotten, being erased. And you yourself bring back all the ceramics that your parents have handed down, that your grandparents have handed down, that the ancestors have handed down, and you use it again like always to make food. You use it again always because you understand that within us we hold the hopes of everyone who has not made it to this point. We hold the hopes of all the chinampas and temples and the Nahuatl language. We understand what it is to be Indio, and so in Dios, and be in God. So you yourself give yourself up to the ancestry and the spirit which runs within you, to be the breath that must give back everyone the life-giving sustenance, to be the water to give everyone the life-breathing sustenance. And you breathe in like you are an ocean. You breathe in like you are the tierra, like you are el fuego, like you are el viento, la flor que todavía no conoce el fuego que va a destruir este mundo. You understand what it is to be of two tongues, come to this nation, represent the way you must, so that people understand that history is alive. You are the history alive, colonizer and colonized in one body, and your bones have not succumbed to making either one of them evil. You yourself have succumbed to making both of them work for you, because you understand what it means to be Latinx, you understand what it means to be Indigeno, and you understand what it means to go forward, to understand that with these hands we build culture, that with these hands we hold culture, that with these hands we are culture, and with these hands we will continue doing the work so that everyone can remember where we come from, everyone can remember that we are alive, everyone can remember that with these hands we are powerful enough to never be forgotten.